yourself a hook in.
Are you using the same hook for this?
I'm using the same hook. It's just a size 8, all right? And then what you want to do is you want to put a bead on there.
Use this stuff for put a blade on that thing and you can hook it on real easy.
Okay?
Oh, this thing.
Now for this one I tie it with some lead wire or fake lead wire. And the reason I tie it with fake lead wire is because when you put the bead on, you'll see that it just kind of sits there and wobbles around a little bit. Alright?
Well, what is, you
You see that it wobbles around. Alright, can you see that? Okay.
I'm not familiar with fake lead wire. Is it sold under fake lead wire or?
It's called lead free.
Oh, lead free, okay.
Lead free wire, yeah. And that's because in some areas, especially Yellowstone, they won't allow you to use any flies that have lead in it at all. All right? So I bought some of this lead-free wire just so I can tie this with it. But this lead-free wire is not there for weight. All right? I'll tie on about 5 to 6 wraps of this material, just like that. All right? And the reason I have 5 to 6 wraps on that is so I can jam it in the counter bore on the bead. If you take the lead and jam it in the counter bore on the bead, now that bead doesn't wobble anymore. Okay?
Did you guys notice what he cut his wire with, though? He did not use the scissors.
A pair of dikes. And then what you do is you start your thread at the back of the wire and trap it in there so it doesn't move back out. Now this is how I tie my fully loaded bugger. Alright? It's not going to be tied like the original or whatever. This is how I tie my fully loaded bugger.
FLB.
Okay? Now, I'm using the premium woolly bugger material, the marabou, premium marabou, okay? And what I'm doing is I'm stripping it off the side, but watch how I strip it off the side, okay? I take a strip and I fold it over, okay? I take another strip and I fold it over, and basically I'm rolling it off of the hook, off of the feather shaft, okay? I'm rolling it, and what I'm creating is a little cylinder of this marabou. And the reason I'm doing it that way is because I want it to bulk up straight like that. I want it to point straight out. Alright?
See,
I like the tail sticking out the back almost twice what the hook shank is. Alright? So I like it hanging off about like that. So I transfer hands and I look at where it's going to be, and that's where I pinch it down. Alright? I'll pinch it down right behind the lead. Or you can cut it off first and then tie it down. Either way, doesn't make any difference. Then what I do is I hold the marabou like this, and I'll trap it and I'll wrap it back all the way to the bend of the hook. Right to the back of the barb. Alright? And you'll see that it twists and rotates. It's not going to matter because I pulled it off in a circular motion in the first place. So when I wrap it down there, it's not going to matter whether it twists on the shank or not when I'm twisting it back. When I let go of it, it comes out exactly the way I need it. Right? The other thing is, store-bought ones, you'll find some that look like a feather duster. They have so much marabou on the back that it can't possibly collapse. That, again, that depends on what you like and how you like it. I like mine thin. It gives it a lot more movement. Okay? The next thing you put on there is Flashaboo. Crystal flash. Now, I used to tie mine with crystal flash. Let me tell you this. I tied all of my buggers with crystal flash in the tail. Just 2 or 3 fibers on each side. Alright? They were catching fish, but nothing that I would call spectacularly, okay, until I put this stuff on. Holographic tinsel, all right? And on a black crystal bugger, I use this rainbow or multicolored holographic on there. On the white ones, I use this. I use the. I guess this is called rainbow, right?
Yeah, that's rainbow.
It's
The
called
other one is-
rainbow
take
or
the
something
other
like
one.
that. And this one, I'm not sure what this one's
I
called.
think that one, I think they refer to that as dark peacock or the word peacock is part of the
I
coloration.
don't know, but it's got like reds, blues, purples, all sorts of stuff on there. So I use the dark crystal flash, holographic crystal flash, for the dark flies. And I only use like 2 strips, all right? Take 2 strips, match the tips together. Oops. Match the ends together and I clip it in half. Clip it in half just like that. So now you've got 4 pieces, okay? And then I take the 4 pieces and I line it up on one side the length of the tail, okay? Oh, by the way, wrap your thread up maybe 1/4 inch up the shank, and I'll show you why. If you trap the Flashaboo, and that's what this is, it's Flashaboo, not crystal flash, it's flat mylar. Okay? Now that I have this hanging on back over here like this, I'll come right back up to the top. To get this on the opposite side, I will fold it over the top of the shank and trap it down on the opposite side and then run it along the back half of the hook shank. So I have Flashaboo on both sides. When I get to this part here, I just trim off the excess. No, first thing you want to do is put on some wire. Okay? You want to put on a length of wire.
And the color of the wire, does it make a difference?
Nope. I have some old French wire that I bought a long time ago, and you leave it out for a week and the damn thing tarnishes. And basically I call that my trash wire. And I use the trash wire for my counter ribbing. I don't use it for flash, I don't use it for anything else. I just use it to build up some strength.
You just tie in the wire?
I just tie in the wire.
Sure.
Yeah. I like to tie in the wire the full length of the hook shank. And the reason for that is because I don't want it to pull out. Even if you tie it the full length of the hook shank, it will periodically pull out. So what you can do is leave a little tag end out the end, wrap it, and then fold it over, and then trap it back down again, and it'll never pull out then. Now you put in your body, anything you want. I'm going to use the olive, just like before, since I have it out already. Again, strip off the core. Or if you want it real fat, tie it in behind the bead and then wrap it all the way down the back end. Either way, doesn't matter to me. This is your bugger.
Mitch, have you seen the variegated chenille?
Oh yeah, I have tons of it.
You use that for your buggers too?
Generally not, no. I bought it only for the jimmy legs and the rubber legs, and that's pretty much what I use it for. So, wrap your body. Go ahead and wrap your body.
Mitch, during this
Nope,
process,
not yet.
do you use half hitches at all, or?
I do.
Okay.
I used a half hitch earlier. You
Oh, I
didn't see
missed
me?
it.
Oh, okay.
I missed it.
Okay.
How about any kind of?
This is why I use a half hitch in between here like this, right? And I use that to get my bobbin out of the way.
Are we
And
wrapping
then-
clear up to the bead, or?
Clip almost up, leave a little space, okay? So I will use that so that my line doesn't come unraveled. My my thread won't come unraveled. Because if I did that on a bead, it would just slip right off the edge, and it wouldn't stay. So I have to half hitch it behind a bead. If I'm not using a bead, the down eye will actually keep the thread in place, and I won't have to do that. All right? And make sure that your hackle is geared to the size of the fly that you're tying. Okay. What I do now is I trim off the tip, and I leave little stubs on there like that.
The tip or the butt?
Or the butt, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Trim off the butt section, and I just tie that underneath. Just trap it underneath there.
Tie it up at the front.
Tie it up at the front, yep. Now, this is where it differs from the other one. I wrap 2 full wraps around the front of the hook.
Still shiny side forward.
Still shiny side forward, dull side going backwards, and I palmer it backwards.
You got your thread hanging at the front.
Yes.
Yep.
What do you mean by palmer?
It just means spiraled.
Spiral.
Yeah, spiraled forwards or backwards. That's palmering. Okay? Now I take the wire. Once I get to the very back end, I hold it. I take the wire. I take 1 wrap around the back end of it to trap that tail in there. And then I wind it through the hackle. Now you notice I'm wrapping it the same direction I wrap the hackle, right? Because when you wrap the hackle, it goes this way. When you wrap the wire, it's going this way now, and it's crossing the stem, and it's actually reinforcing it every 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch, whatever it is. Okay, and then I will fold the hackles back and put 1 or 2 wraps of wire behind it just to hold it there, and then I'll take a wrap of thread to hold the wire. Okay, and then
the wire the same direction you did the hackle?
No, wrap the same wire, same direction you wrapped the thread.
no, the same direction I wrap the hackle, but yeah, it's just going forwards over the top. The hackle is wound towards the rear over the top. The wire is wound towards the front over the top. Okay? Now I can clip off the tail. Or now I can clip off the tag end of that hackle. Now, if you look at this, you'll see that I have this little hackle guard. I slip it up and over the hook, and I put several wraps behind the bead, and then I'll whip finish it.
What is that? Your hackle guard? Secret weapon?
No, it's something that Norm Norlander sells.
It's just nothing more than
He actually
tubing.
provides it for free. No, it's not vinyl. It's like a latex rubber. You could use shrink tubing, surgical tubing. A piece of surgical tubing would work perfectly.
You got a slit in it, right?
Yeah,
Over your
this
thread.
came off of a conical shaped thing that he uses to hold the bobbins so that the thread doesn't go zipping through on there.
You just got
This
to
is
buy
just
the-
the bottom. This is just the bottom section of it. Okay, and then it just pops off and stays on my bobbin.
Looks like some kind of RC fuel.
Next time you're in the
Fuel
hospital,
lines,
steal some IV
Okay.
tubing.
Anyway, if you look at it, this is a fully loaded bugger. You can't really add too much more to it and still make it fishable. All right? I mean, there's nothing else necessary. You've got flash at the head, flash at the tail, you've got a long tail that undulates, you've got the hackle, and you've got the body, and you've got a wire to protect the hackle.